Sports venues around the world are clearly feeling the pinch at the moment, with no or limited fans able to enjoy live events. When fans do return, however, ensuring their experience is as good as it can be will be absolutely paramount. And there's no doubt that the technology, matched with a deep understanding of fan habits, preferences and behaviours, is going to be the thing that makes that happen. Over the next 25 minutes or so, we are going to take a closer look at one aspect of the in-venue fan experience and examine why it could be the key to unlocking wider commercial opportunities for teams and venue operators. And that's in-seat delivery of food and drink to fans. With me here in the studio, delighted to have Nils Braude, Managing Director of the Twickenham Experience, the food catering and events arm here at Twickenham Stadium. Hi, Nils.
Hi.
And Patrick McMeekin, the UK and Ireland licensee for SeatServe, exclusive licensee for SeatServe, which provides venues with the technology and infrastructure to improve the fan purchasing experience and increase margins within the food and beverages area. Patrick, hello.
David, hi.
Good to have you both with us and looking forward to getting into this conversation. Patrick, let's get into it right away. Maybe start by telling us why you believe that in-seat food and drink delivery is going to be such a critical component of the fan experience moving forward.
Well, I think it's important to say that I always have believed it. The truth is we wouldn't have chosen for it to have happened this way, but over the last 6 to 8 months, obviously things have changed massively in behaviour. People have been stuck at home, they've been ordering online, they've been booking delivery slots, and they've become more familiar with general e-commerce. And that's beside the match day dynamic of a stadium where you're ordering from restaurants now. It's much easier to get your hands on food and drink if you order it through your phone, and it's much more efficient on a match day as well.
So tell us where specifically SeatServe plays in all this.
So, I mean, clearly the issue that venues have is it's actually not about capacity and it's not about time. A lot of people think that in the UK sports are much shorter, they're much more intense, and we don't have time. Most venues have the capacity over the course of a match day to serve every fan. The issue actually, or the challenge, is fan behaviour. Everybody wants to do the same thing at the same time. I want to drink at kick-off, I want to drink at half-time. So really what we're trying to do is manage that demand better so that we can match it to the available capacity at the bars. So for example, if you draw people away from the queues at kick-off and half-time, you serve them during the game, overall incremental revenue is made, people are far more satisfied because they're not stuck in a queue, and ultimately you pick up a load of fan data off the back of it, which we can definitely get into.
Absolutely. Should say that at this point this is a live session, so any questions, comments, opinions, thoughts, please put them in the discuss box and I will feed them into the conversation with Patrick and Nils as we go. Nils, let's come to you. Thank you for hosting us, first of all, this week. Much appreciated. Tell us a little bit about how a venue like Twickenham is responding to these quite extreme new challenges.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the same as a lot of big businesses around the country and in multiple industries. We're trying to innovate and stay connected to our customers, stay connected to our future customers, and deliver some kind of content and value for money, even if there's no charge for it. There's a value to being engaged with your customers, and as we come out of this and look to host events with fans at whatever scale that lands up being, we need to give some kind of confidence into the market that we are dealing with a situation, we're on the forefront of what's available in the marketplace, and we take the fan experience and their safety extremely importantly.
Absolutely. Patrick, obviously we're talking essentially about technology here, and people, I think, around the world will be very familiar with the click and collect model, which has been around for some time.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that you see with that as compared to in-seat delivery?
Well, I mean, traditionally there have always been 3 challenges with click and collect. It's not that efficient, so you still need to siphon off an area of the bar to serve people. It's not that scalable. If hundreds of people order, you're basically just moving queues around. But the main thing is it's not compelling for fans. So going back to that fan behaviour, it doesn't change the way fans behave on a match day. They still get up, They still have to go to the bar, and you're not compelling them to behave any differently and spread that demand over a match day. Now, clearly, this has been hugely exacerbated by COVID. I mean, fundamentally, what we're looking at now is queuing under social distancing conditions. Unless you're a massive venue, or even if you're a tiny venue and you've got tiny concourses, it's impossible. I can't see a way of it working in any scalable fashion. And you've got to look at, I mean, necessity is the mother of innovation, and that's what we're looking at right now. If everything is uncertain, but we do know what the return of fans is going to look like to some capacity, because we've managed to get trials away, and we were involved in 2 of DCMS's pilots within rugby union to great success. We made history. I mean, we were the only way you could get food and drink over the road at the Stoop a month ago, and a week later at Gloucester, albeit with only 1,000 fans. But if you wanted to get food and drink, the only way to do it was to order on your phone, and I don't think that's been done anywhere else.
Well, let's dig into those 2 examples that you cited, because you have been heavily involved in trying to roll this out. What was the feedback like from fans, first of all, and what were some of the key learnings that you took away from those projects? Yeah,
it was great. I mean, look, one of the things that puts us in a good position is that in-seat delivery is all we do. So we're not a hardware provider. We're not a point-of-sale provider. We're an enterprise solution that has been designed to solve this singular challenge. And we've built it in a way that's not standalone. We know that we need to integrate into the existing platforms that might already exist, be it ticketing, club apps, whatever that might be. So we want to be present where the fans already are. So it's much more seamless for them to get on board. So it's very easy for a fan. I mean, at the Stoop, there was a QR code. You scan the QR code, you put in your section, row and seat, and you can order what you want. And it arrives in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. At Gloucester, we're integrated into their app. So you click through to us, you're already registered. There's an API. So there are various ways of doing this, but all of them are easy. You check out with Apple Pay, you can be done in 30 seconds. And that's quicker than it would take for you to get up and go to the bar. And crucially, far more efficient for the bar itself, because they have that available capacity to fulfill those orders. So we've got very good ratings. I mean, every order we get the fans to rate, and we did more at the Stoop than anywhere else. It was our biggest day. We got half the number of fans ordered, so in groups of 2, that's pretty much everybody, I'd say, give or take. And again, I don't think that's been done before. So we've proven that it can be done at scale. And the truth is, scale is the only thing that matters. If you can't do this at scale, there's no point in trying, because your front of house is fantastic. It hums on a match day. Cashless payments, you've got massive amounts of bar space. That's fantastic. The problem is behaviour.
How applicable are those lessons that you learnt at the Stoop, for example, across all sorts of different types of stadiums, size of stadiums? Are the fundamentals the same, or will it differ by venue?
Yeah, the fundamentals are the same. So the way we scale, the way we would do 80,000 fans is not just by doing 80,000 fans from one bar. We divide the ground up hugely. So and the more we grid the grounds up, the more efficient it becomes, because you're ordering to a bar that's closer to you. The runner doesn't have to run as far, so they can get to you quicker, and they know exactly where they're going because they've got a smaller area to work with, so they can become more familiar with it. It's scale is our friend here, and we've been at the likes of Anfield for 3 years. We do all 50,000 seats there now, over 12, I think maybe 15 concessions now. And the other thing is hospitality. I mean, we want to be the one-stop shop for retail on a match day. And you mentioned food and drink. I'd push merchandise as well, because the club shops are generally empty during the game, and for me that's a huge opportunity to start upselling to people who don't want to join the queue at the end of the match, which is what the options are for them.
Niles, as we can see behind us, you've got a lot of seats here at Twickenham, which is a challenge and a half as and when fans are allowed back into the venue. It's obviously an older stadium that has been constantly and is constantly going through modernisation processes with new technologies being installed within it. How are you approaching this challenge of how to serve fans? Because if nothing else, when fans are allowed back into stadiums with all the restrictions and the protocols that are going to be taking place, giving them an absolutely top fan experience, more so than ever before, is going to be paramount, as we said at the start.
Definitely. I mean, you're going to have a number of fans that are being cautious when they come back to stadiums. If we, in reduced capacities, there's plenty of space to move around, and one of the guidelines clearly state that space is a requirement. So using something like an in-seat delivery will both give confidence and reduce queuing and congestion on the concourses, which is a key factor to keeping people safe in the stadiums. So I think moving that experience and spreading out the service, and as Patrick said, their habits are just before the game and half time. If we can extend that period out and give them access to ordering when they first arrive at their seat and want to have a look at the pitch, they get out to the bowl and they can then receive their food and drink without having to go back into the crowds, go back into an unknown environment, and provide that confidence to people that you're dealing with it correctly, all by extending the service window as well. And in some of our concourses, as you mentioned, they're a lot smaller than some of the more modern stadiums. If we can't open concession units as part of the requirements, something like SeatServe gives us the opportunity to service those fans in those areas without causing congestion on the bars, and that's going to be key to one, sustaining a service level and maintaining habits within a stadium. The last thing we want is people to change their purchasing habits and come to the stadium later or not come at all because they can't have a provision.
We are going to talk data in a moment, which is another key element of this, but good to see that we've got some questions coming in, and thank you for those. Let us start with a specific one from Paul Dolman. Would be interested to get your views on this. Nice to have you with us, Paul. Are venues, SeatServe clubs and other bodies lobbying the government, this is the British government, to remove the restriction on consumption of alcohol in view of the pitch? And Paul says that he does feel condensing alcohol consumption into a 15-minute window of half-time is a little like encouraging rapid binge drinking. That's a factor here, isn't it?
It is.
Where do you stand on that?
Well, it's a tricky one for me because clearly I have a vested interest in this. Obviously, the licensing is a challenge for our operation on a match day in the Premier League, and we've had to adapt massively to it. My personal position is that, again, going back to never waste a good crisis. This is something that is a prime opportunity to try new things. So particularly under reduced capacities, fans have to sign code of conduct when they come back. I don't know where you currently consume a beer on a match day in the Premier League, because you can't do it in the concourse and you can't do it in your seat. So if the only
on the way,
yeah. Exactly, in that kind of limbo land that doesn't really exist. So if you've got reduced capacities, and we have all of the limits that you have front of house. There's a 4-point limit at Twickenham. We have a 4-point limit on our app. We have an age gate. We have all the things that you need to implement the controls that venues have already front of house. For me, it's a prime opportunity for the government to give venues an opportunity to make some money, because that's what they need right now, really.
There's a question here that I will probably throw to you, Niles, from Patrick Avils. Nice to have you with us, Patrick, who talks about, who asks whether this type of delivery that we're talking about necessitates an increase or a decrease in food and beverage staff, so staffing numbers at the venue, how that's affected.
Mm-hmm. It all depends on your length of delivery window and where your service areas are, so your bars. It's not an opportunity to reduce labour cost in essence, but it is an opportunity to increase your revenue and therefore reduce your labour cost percentage overall. And going back to that, extending your service window is key. A lot of football stadiums, rugby stadiums have downtimes where the staff are just stood for the period of the game where they're servicing very little revenue. I think this platform gives you the opportunity to then take sales during those periods and therefore cover more costs. So number of heads in the staffing team or in the service team, probably not initially, but particularly if you've got both your traditional kiosks open and delivering in seat, probably even increases it slightly. But off the back of that, you're taking more revenue, and that's the key piece, right? You're just being more efficient with that labour.
And I mean, it's something we're all used to now. You can charge a delivery fee. People are prepared to pay that because it's a premium service. And I'd absolutely echo what Niall said. I'd say in hospitality we could probably cut down headcount with table service because the ordering process is more efficient. the runners are just doing one journey from the bar to the table and they're not taking orders. I mean, we take the indecision and we take the payment process out of the equation. That's really where we speed service up. But certainly in general admission, we're making better use of the existing staff. And if we get to the point where we're maxing out that capacity, that's a good problem to have. And, if we want to take on more staff to handle even more capacity, then we can start charging a delivery fee. Because, remember what we're doing. You can't get a delivery at kickoff or at half time because there are no staff available. This is, and if we want to make staff available to do deliveries, they're premium delivery slots, just like you might find at Ocado. If you want a delivery just before lunch, you're going to pay £6. People will do that on a match day now because it's a premium service.
It's a good answer, particularly as you have basically answered Darcy Lingley's question. So, Darcy, I hope that answers your question about delivery fees and where and how they fit into this. We touched on this right at the start about the wider commercial opportunities here, and obviously fundamental to that is data. You are obviously going to be, I would imagine, collecting quite a bit of data about fan habits, purchasing habits, movements, behaviours. How can that data, Patrick, be used by venue operators to make further efficiencies in terms of process and generally, again, enhance the experience of the fan in the venue?
Massively. It's part of a wider ecosystem, of course. Digital ticketing, for one, is something that we want to segue with as well. But you've got to know your fans these days, and that's not just about when they come in and when they leave. It's about knowing what they're doing when they're here. And something like this is a prime opportunity to get to know that. Season ticket holders, debenture ticket holders, they might turn up to most games, but they might not. But if they give their ticket to a friend, you don't know who that friend is. And if that friend places an order through us, then we can cross-reference that with your system, and we can say, well, that's a marketing opportunity. This isn't punitive. This guy is up for grabs. And similarly, we can push notifications to him in real time, so we can give him a great experience that makes him think, God, this is great. I want a season ticket on my own. Or a normal fan who's spending a more than normal amount on food, drink and merchandise on a match day, we can monitor that over the season and say, well, if we offer this guy an upgrade for next season, he's going to be saving money, or at least he's going to be spending a little bit more money to take him up to a hospitality ticket level. And
Niles, from a venue point of view, how do you approach this sort of raw data that you're getting and trying to pick out key insights from? Yeah,
I mean, it's not a data grab situation. We're not going to proactively go out and market to these guys. I mean, clearly it's the key bit for me. It's not an app that you're downloading. It's a website that you're accessing. So you're not asking people to download stuff, but as part of that experience, you can ask them to opt into your marketing. Your marketing and your data collection, but crucially the data that we get then back from the system itself gives us crucial information into purchasing habits, spend per heads, who is buying this product. Now, it's not necessarily a marketable data that you're going out with, but it's intelligence into the business, and keeping on top of fan behaviour is key. And as Patrick says, if you can then engage the fan enough with the communication in and around the purchase, the receipt, etc., to engage them to want more information from your venue, then that's clearly an opportunity that's untapped or unexplored at this moment.
I love these type of sessions because we can really dig into some detailed questions, and we've got a couple here that we'll just fly through coming in. One from Rebecca Derrick. Hi Rebecca, good to have you with us. She apologises for coming in late to the session. Don't worry, you can catch up a little bit later on. But she asked a great question about whether there's potential for fans to pre-order and pay for their food and drink before arriving at the stadium, with obviously the knock-on help that would give to staff and sort of general prep.
I was just about to say, some of the stats that we get are incredible. I present them back to the rights holders and the operators, and it blows away the traditional notion of spend per head for that exact reason, for the pre-ordering. I mean, at the Stoop, we cleared a third of the total revenue for the whole day before the gates had even opened. So Quins were great with sending an email out to all the fans. It's very targeted, saying, look, this is going to be the only way you do it. And capacity is going to be limited. It's inevitable. So what we want you to do is place your order now if you want to guarantee that you're going to get it at the right time that you want. So we had people placing 4 or 5 orders over the course of the match day, spread out. So we have a time slot system, just like Ocado, where you have to pick a time slot. Each one is limited because we don't want 100 people ordering for the same time slot because the bar can't fulfill that. So what you get is people, they know what they want on a match day. They know when they traditionally get up and queue. So if they say, okay, I want an order pre-match, I want one 10 minutes after kick-off, just before half-time, and obviously if you're in a big group, this is exactly the way that we want people to start behaving on a match day, because it frees the queues up at kick-off and half-time. You're still taking that revenue. It's just in the downtime, when there's low utilisation, you can maximise the...
and you can use that information to improve the fan experience, right? You've got the pre-orders, you've got the time to prepare it correctly. You're not guessing what people are going to have when they arrive, and you can even use that trend from the pre-order to see what's popular on the day. So there's reducing your waste, reducing products that just don't sell, and having a real punt. And the earlier you can get that out, the more you can tailor your service to it and try new things, right? You can put a product out there that you want to experiment with, and you'll know by your pre-orders whether that's going to work or not.
Yeah, and you've got lots of hot dogs. You can send a notification out saying we're doing 20% off hot dogs, and you can clear your inventory live in real time. This stuff is available to do, and it's something that we haven't deployed as much as we'd like to, based on the fact that the data proposition we have is so rich.
Question from Barry Webber here, who says, due to perceived fan behaviour, we're being encouraged to close or significantly reduce public catering operations. In doing so, when fans are allowed back in, the plan is to sort of drive this kind of thing forward. And he asks about the commercial return when encouraging in-seat dining. So again, I suppose going back to the tests you've done, what have you learnt about how willing people are to spend with this kind of system?
I mean, it reflects the way we all behave, right? We all spend more online. It's easier for us to do, and certainly the average order value that we have is much higher than the average transaction value that people will see front of house, because people are ordering for multiple other people. It's very easy to fill your cart, and it's very easy to check out. But the crucial thing is we can control that as well. So for the premium time slots, where we want to kind of deter people from filling up those time slots, or at least we want to make those time slots worthwhile, we can put delivery fees on them, we can put minimum order values on them, we can put both on them. And what that means is you're going to get really meaty orders going out to people that are worth the while of the runner, even taking them away from the front of house, potentially, because it's a more profitable order, and the system is so efficient that they're only going to be gone. At King's Home, the average delivery time was 1.5 minutes from the bar to the seat, and we can time every part of that journey, from the order getting grabbed, getting prepared, getting picked up, and getting delivered, because the whole journey is digital, and we don't rely on printing, stapling, writing numbers. None of that counts with us. It's all about having a digital journey.
Just a couple of minutes left. I want to get Max Lawson's question in. Thank you, Max, for it, who says about the marketing of this. Will you be looking to market and implement this in a purely digital capacity, or actually could there be an opportunity with stickers on seats, for example?
Yeah, we did both, right? We communicated, and when we first trialled SeatServe at Twickenham, we put it into all the disabled platforms. There's an opportunity there to really enhance the service that fan has, and so we did both. We communicated to that group pre-game and via their ticket information, and then we put flyers, at those points, and then QR codes and stickers on the seat. So we kind of tackled it from all angles to introduce that. But moving forward, if it's as we move into scale in that product, will definitely be part of the customer journey. As part of the digital ticket, it'll just be part of the information, the FAQs on the website, and part of that customer pre-information. And then clearly on the day, you need something to access it. It's not an app, like we said earlier. It's a QR code that goes to a web page, so much more accessible than asking somebody to download it, which they would have to do pre-game, given connectivity in stadiums. It can be poor. So I think that's a key piece. It is the physical information that you have at the seat, but it's a simple sticker on the seat in front of you.
Final question to you both. We titled this session Revolutionizing the Fan Experience. I want to test to see how accurate we think that statement is. If we were to sit here again in 5 years' time and have this conversation, hopefully with a big audience in front of us, how different is the fan experience likely to be at a venue like this?
I think in 5 years' time, it's going to be part of the product, right? It's going to be second nature, as Patrick said. You know, the generation now and across generations have got used to ordering online. They've got used to the digital experience. They're making calls at home, using technology like they've never used it before. So it's accelerated that process across multiple generations. And I think it's now going to be accepted. And wherever you go, post-COVID, there's going to be, pub ordering and ordering at your table is going to be part of the offer that companies invest in. So I think in a stadium that's going to be no different. Across our boxes, restaurants, there's going to be this technology available everywhere to do exactly what we've been talking about. Increase service times, increase revenue through targeted sales, and increase the fan experience.
Final word, Patrick?
Yeah, I completely agree. All I'd say is, it's great for fans, but it's also great for operators, and that's the main thing: is combining a product that works for both entities.
Fantastic. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you, Niles. Thank you, Patrick. Fascinating discussion. And maybe 5 years' time we'll do it all again. Thanks very much.
Thanks.